Good afternoon. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you to a BW Education Dialogue. Today we have a really melodious conversation lined up for you because we have two special people. In music, we talk of Jugalbandi. In business, we talk of collaboration. This is a collaboration between a giant in the schooling and education system and a giant in the music domain. So when collaboration happens, when Jugalbandi happens, music gets created. Today, hopefully, through our conversation with these two leaders in their spaces, we'll talk about the role of music in education. We'll talk about the future of education, the future of schools, the school of future, and we'll talk about the GIIS and Shekhar Ravjiani School of Music. Let me welcome the two special guests that we have today. We have Mr. Atul Temurnikar. My pronunciation may not be perfect, so I'll call you Atul, who's the co-founder of the GIIS, and I've had the good opportunity of meeting him earlier. Welcome, Atul. You've been pioneer in setting up a school that is nurturing talent and preparing the leaders of tomorrow. So I'm glad you're here. We also have somebody who kind of completes the melody. We have somebody whose music has enthralled us. It has given us joy. When we use the word leading, sometimes we use it loosely, but in this case, we can say that he is the leading music composer and a music professional from India, a person who really doesn't need any introduction. We have the very talented Shekhar Ravjiani. Shekhar, welcome to this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Clearly, Shekhar doesn't remember me. I last met him 7 years back on a flight. He doesn't remember the conversation, but I do. So let me start with you, Atul, first. Atul, GIIS has been a school that has been futuristic always. Tell me, over the last 120 days, what have you done at GIIS that can prepare it for the next leap?
So thank you for having me, and together with Shekhar, it's an honor to talk to you, Mr. Batra. I think the simple and straight answer to your question is actually we haven't done anything in the last 120 days. And the reason is whatever we have done in the last 5 years has been totally useful to us during these pandemic times. So whether it is a question of virtual schooling, whether it is a question of allowing children to study from overseas, whether it's a question of having electronic means of getting assignments to students, or having them even give exams on the virtual basis. I think we have over the last 5 years evolved a framework, what is called as the School of the Future framework, which has already gained a lot of traction around the world. And this framework, one of the initiatives under that is really the Smart Campus and our holistic education of 9 GEMs. We'll speak more about the holistic education, but coming back to your question, I think it's been the base that we have prepared, unknowing that a pandemic is going to happen. And when the pandemic happened, just yesterday, one of the Singapore government ministries were speaking to us, and they said, well, we didn't expect you really to have any issues with regards to pandemic. And did you have any issues? And I said, no, we had nothing. I mean, we were simply enjoying the entire virtual experience our students were able to get throughout the world, and that is something very, very phenomenal. 15,000 students simultaneously having virtual education from day one, from the day the pandemic and the lockdowns were enforced. So that's something very encouraging for all of us here, and we believe that there was no disruption in the education of even a single child, be it anywhere in the world.
I also want to know personally how have been the last 120 days for you? What have you learned in these 120 days that will make you more humane, that will make you more futuristic, and dare I say, that will in some way create more success for GIIS?
Yes, so let me answer the simple part first. Personally, from a personal angle, I find these were the most productive days that I've ever spent in my life. Absolutely not a 15 minutes kind of waste of time. Everyone has been engaged. All the teams have been on the go right from day one of the lockdown. So we've been able to achieve a lot of work which generally in normal circumstances would have taken us at least 4 to 5 times more time. But coming back to futuristic, I think what the pandemic tells us and our past experience of the 2011 tsunami in Japan, where we had schools and we went through a very, very rough experience. The thing is that we all have to become now, whatever business we are in, we should be able to do our business, whether it's education, whether it's retail, whether it's composing music, we should be able to do it from anywhere. So do it from anywhere is probably the new mantra for all businesses from all sectors and all industries. And that's, I think, what is also applicable to education. Although it may be easier for education to do this, but I think there are areas where we feel, for example, I mean, if you're talking about small kindergarten students who are age 3 to age 6, it's very difficult for them to sit in front of a computer screen for 4 hours and go through a school curriculum. So we have to evolve new curriculums, we have to evolve new systems. So I think our futuristic thing would be really to see how a student can even get educated without a teacher intervention. That would be our futuristic model.
Beautiful. Let me come to Shekhar. Shekhar, last few months there are no movies being made, right? And you write independent music, but you write a lot for Bollywood. Tell us, how have been the last 120 days for you personally, and what have you been busy with?
Mr. Batra, first of all, thank you so much for having me. We met 7 years ago, but as I told you last time, कि मैं थोड़ा जवान था तब, अभी बुढ़ापा आ चुका है, तो कुछ याददाश्त थोड़ी कम हो गई है. But it was just an amazing thing when I came to know about you conducting this whole webinar for music education, which is the most important thing at the moment. I think a lot of people need to talk about music education. A lot of kids need to know more about how it's done, especially in this country. A lot of people a lot of parents are very keen to know that how their kids can reach the maximum potential. So I'm very glad, and thank you so much for having both of us, Atul and I, on this show. Mr. Batra, last 3-4 months have been very, very good for me, actually. It's been very, very interesting for me. The most important thing, spend a lot of time with the family, which doesn't happen much because I'm traveling all the time, or for concerts.
I met you in a flight, and I did meet you in a flight.
I must be sleeping on the flight.
No, I didn't let you. I don't let anyone sleep. I'm a talkative variety. So
then I should have remembered who you are.
Yeah, it's okay.
So anyway, so ऐसा था कि spend a lot of time with the family. Got to spend a lot of time with my daughter, my wife, speaking with them about life in general, which we kind of at some point life becomes so monotonous that you're traveling from one city to another city doing concerts, and you're coming back, and as soon as you head back, you're heading straight away to the recording studio, and then you're coming back again, and it's all hectic. But this time I had these beautiful 3-4 months with them, and I don't know how long we'll have to wait for this pandemic to get over, but I value the time which I spent with them. Second thing is, I wrote a lot of music in the last 3-4 months. I must have written close to about 50 to 60 songs, which was amazing. And I kind of felt at some point that I had maybe lost some bit of it, which I found in this entire thing. Sometimes we feel that it becomes a job at some point, but sometimes when you're left alone without any formal job, then you start making music for yourself. Then you start making music for, you kind of express your emotion. When you express your emotion, when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're feeling joy, your music translates accordingly. So I made a lot of happy songs. So that proves that the music has been quite good and fun. So I have enjoyed that bit. Another thing I really enjoyed a lot was interacting with the GIIS students, which we've done about 3 or 4 sessions till now. And seeing their enthusiasm and seeing the way they are kind of so excited about this journey. Actually,
And Shekhar, I want to interrupt there. How did this Jugalbandi, how did this collaboration come about? Tell us the backstory on that.
So Atul actually invited me to the Singapore campus of GIIS. And when I went to that campus, and it's magnanimous, it's massive, the place is humongous. But then when I saw the facility for music, it just felt like it's a music school. It's got like more instruments, a lot of teachers, a lot of instruments, and a lot of kids learning every kind of instrument. Amazing energy. recording studios, big stage. I've seen a massive LED screen. I've seen like editing facilities, sound facilities. I was like, Atul, you have a proper music school here. It's amazing. And I did my first workshop with the kids. And that workshop was so amazing that there's a lot of South Indian community in Singapore and a lot of students, singing Carnatic classical music. And that was amazing to hear. I was like really, really so impressed that the school and, their music, their teachers, they carry their culture with them, and they kind of, still so close to Indian classical music, whether it's South Indian classical, Carnatic classical, whether it's Hindustani classical. There were kids who kind of came up and sang a film song for me, and they also dedicated the song to me because it's one of their favorite songs which I've composed. So it was quite an interesting thing. It was beautifully rendered, I remember. Then there was a girl who came and played the violin, and I was kind of so impressed with the way she was like, and no one is scared. It's amazing. There's no fear in these kids. I remember me being at that age, I was so scared. My feet would tremble. Even today they tremble. But the kids, their confidence, I was like so impressed with them. After that session, we had another workshop. After I think 5 or 6 months, I went back to Singapore again. We had another workshop there. But the last workshop, which was about 6 to 8 months back, was very interesting because I was going to do a workshop with them, teaching them how to write a song. And I got about 15 or 20 of them sitting in one room. And we decided that today, all of us here are composers. Okay. We need to make a song. Okay. What's the situation? Okay. Let's figure out what's the situation. The situation is we are making a anthem for the school. Let's make a GIS anthem. Some kids started writing lyrics. Some kids started making the groove. I put them all together and we made a song in about 2-3 hours. And we put the song together. We recorded the song together. It was an experience which was like it's recorded. And at some point we'll be showing it to the world how this anthem was born. It was that much fun. So I think this whole 3-4 months, I've had such beautiful experiences with these kids on online sessions, as well as writing music, spending time with family, and most importantly, not being affected by the negativity which is all around the place at the moment. I think it's in our hands how we see life. If you see it positively, I think only good things will happen.
Beautiful. On that happy note, let me bring Atul back into the conversation. Atul, Shekhar just shared that how did this idea come about. I want to talk to you about two things. One is the role of music in education, because I believe that it brings out the creativity, which then gets manifested in every sphere of what they do, right? At the end of the day, the objective of learning is to make creative minds, right? Second is, I would like to know about the formal tie-up between you and Shekhar to start the GIIS-Shekhar Ravjiani School of Music, and what are your plans for it?
Sure, thank you. So I think creativity today is inseparable part of education. And when I say that, I'm saying from experience. I'm also saying from the fact that how I've seen people really work on their creativity aspects. So let me give you a small example. We have a program called study circles, quality circles, and students from middle school onwards, which is grade 6 onwards, start taking real life problems, get into groups of 4, and then the teachers would give them a topic to say, not just world hunger and global warming types, but really on the ground problems. आज यहाँ पे ये problem है, इसको कैसे solve करेंगे? And that kind of looking at the situation, being creative, being curious about various things, that has been adopted in the school. But coming to a larger piece, so when I used to go around various universities and I used to meet the various admission directors, and I went to Stanford once. And in Stanford, I met the director of education, and I said, "Hey guys, we are from Singapore." He said, "I know about your schools, and I know You don't send too many kids to our university, but that's fine. And so I also visited Wharton and a couple of other big schools in the US. The conversation that we had at multiple times essentially told us one common pattern. The universities were looking beyond academics. And everybody said, very simple, just do holistic, and that is the end of the story. But we said, look, we are all metrics driven, so we must know what is holistic. So first we articulated what is called as a holistic education, and we established a framework called 9 GEMS. 9 GEMS holistic framework essentially runs from all the way from personality development to sports to academics to values and ethics to what do you call it, sports personality development and speech and drama. So while many of these things and entrepreneurship, so when we combined all these things together and we realized that every sector of this area needs to be really carefully nurtured according to the age group of the child. And so when it came to the performing arts and in sports, we've done a lot of work. We do Gold Squad program where essentially the top talent is picked up and then the school provides them extra help, and they all go to then play in the national teams, etc., in various countries, including Singapore. So as far as performing arts were concerned, so when I saw this and the Stanford guys were telling us that we want to see evidence of a child having done something meaningful in their life. And we then came back and our teams put together all the ideas, which ultimately came as 9 GEMS. And then we added a data analytics element to it. But then the question was, in performing arts, what can you do? Can you just ask the students to learn about personality, diction, public speaking, etc., or can we get them to real life kind of experiences? So that's when Shekhar actually was doing the workshops, and as he mentioned earlier, during that particular interaction with 15, 16 students, where a school anthem was created, and Shekhar and I, we were looking at it, and we both felt, and Shekhar was the one who initiated the idea. He said we should do something long term, because of the fact that his gurus have told him to do so, and to distribute what he has learned throughout his life to other students, and exactly what we are doing. We all have learned whatever in our MNC or non-MNC life, and we are trying to put back that into education. And we also have a very good ear to the universities, because they keep saying we want different types of skills, so we brought in skills education, etc. So I think we found a perfect story for our performing arts, in particular in music segment. And like Shekhar has said, the interest level of the students in music here is tremendous. Be it any music, not just Hindi or Tamil, there's regional music, there is English, classical, and every single type of music people love, children love. And we want to promote them. We want to give them their passion, the tools, the approach, and the systems and the processes, which will be helpful to them to kind of take it to the next level.
Beautiful. Thank you for taking us through the journey of discovering through data that performing arts and music can unlock the potential of the child. I think that's a very simple but very powerful discovery, because music is about being fearless. Music is about being yourself, and music is about communication. I think that's what makes music, it helps you connect with people. And I keep saying that the beauty about music is if all human beings were like music, because you don't say this music is bad. You say, I like this music now, but I like this music in the evening. So, music coexists. At different moods and times, you kind of lean into a different music. So, if our relationships could be like music where they coexist with each other and create a harmony, I think we would have a better society. Shekhar, coming to you, you've given numerous hits to us, and you've given us music that gives us hope, so to say. Tell us, if we talk to you in a year from now, the GIIS and Shekhar Ravjiani School of Music, what kind of outcomes should we look at in the next 12 months? Would it mean you would have created superstar singers, or do you think the impact will be the creativity getting unleashed and showing in other parts of their activity?
So obviously I can't write their destiny, but the most important thing I can do is I can make sure that their love for music stays the way it is. That's the most important thing nowadays, is about Making a career in music is one approach, and the other approach is falling in love with music.
I love that. Falling in love with music.
You got to fall in love with music. You have to fall in love every single day. You have to be one crazy romantic person, loving music each day, loving what you do. What happens is, in the last 25 years, I've seen that people who focused only on music and music, and learning even if you're 40 years old and 50 years old, destiny on its own drives those people to become successful. So here we are not going to be promising anything to
literally
anyone.
poetic, huh? That's literally poetic.
No, I really believe in that. I believe that, we are nobody to take someone to a next level. They'll be taking us to a next level. I think what we need, and Atul and I want to make sure that, we kind of give our best to these kids. We kind of make sure that we kind of show them the right path. There are much, much better teachers everywhere. There are much, much better teachers in GIIS itself. But here I'm not talking about the basics. Here I'm going to be taking them through my experience. I'm going to be taking them through a process of how a song is composed, what should be your expression via music, how you should feel when you make a song. It's a thing about, these are the things which I wish were available to me back then. I'm going to be teaching them a lot of fine things which can improve their music. Theory and practical, both these things are important, which they're already getting in school. We're going to brush up their theory as well as their practicals. Make sure they do something which they've never done before, to give them a challenge, because they need to face the challenge. Once you face a challenge, you will kind of discover new things about yourself as an artist. So that's going to be the plan. We really hope that we find a superstar singer from the school. We really hope that one of them goes and gets the Grammy. But what we're going to do is focus more on their learning at the moment. And then destiny will take them wherever they want to go.
Shekhar, when you interacted with students or younger people, tell us, how do you kind of judge or evaluate or figure out that this person can be a great learner and can be a great music professional? Is there a way to kind of find that out?
Mr. Batra, I've done about close to 15, 16 music reality shows, roughly about 15 or 16 music reality shows. And since 2007, when I judged the Saregama on ZTV. Since then, from the age group of, say, 8 to pretty much 32, 33, I've seen all these kids who want to be playback singers. And I've noticed one thing, that there's a lot of rush in these people. There's a lot of rush. They want to kind of become successful overnight.
By the way,
unfortunately,
that's true for every profession. Younger people are in a hurry. So you can take entrepreneurship. There are people.
हमारे दादा परदादा कहते थे कि भाई आप थोड़ा समझ के और ठहराव से, ये जो शब्द है ना ठहराव, वो आज रहा नहीं अभी. ठहराव is basically that meditate, learn well, and then implement it. Here everyone wants to stop learning and execute. Unfortunately, there have been cases where people, through their so-called art, have become famous overnight through various apps. There are people who only concentrated on singing, playing an instrument, and they're very, very satisfied. They're very satisfied. They're very happy. They're learning new things every single day. They're not behind social media. They're not behind, I have to tweet something today, or I have to put something on Instagram. Right now, the pressure is too much on these kids. Right now, it's time for them to fall in love with music again. Thus, I keep on repeating that thing, that my aim is going to be that keep that passion alive, because someday, somewhere, your doors of destiny are going to open up.
आप मुझे एक बात बता रहे थे. You were telling me that when you judge these reality shows, you were telling me a formula for success, if at all there is a formula. And I interrupted, so I want to get back to that thought process?
There is no formula of success. There is no formula at all. You got to work hard. You keep on working.
Yes,
But
yes.
the thing is, क्या होता है रियाज? What happens is कि आप कुछ बनो या ना बनो. There are certain things which a doctor tells you exercise early in the morning. You do it, na, religiously. If you do yoga in the morning, you do yoga in the morning. It's good for you. Treat music, make it your lifestyle. Music needs to become your lifestyle.
I like that. And what is the role of the right guidance, the role of mentorship? They're learning for Shekhar Ravjiani, so they know that somebody who's done it and who understands it, who's still doing it and keeping himself abreast with what's happening and succeeding in the current milieu gives them that confidence that if I'm getting feedback from an accomplished person like Shekhar, then possibly they are more open to it than just a music teacher who may be great too. There are great music teachers who have not been successful singers, right? It's like not every teacher goes and sets up a school that becomes big, right? So I just want to know that when you talk to them, give us one or two stories that can gladden our hearts, because you seem like a person who's very intense. So I'm sure you observed certain things when you interacted with these young adults.
So fortunately or unfortunately, I have witnessed a growth, and unfortunately, I have witnessed a fall also in the learning period. But let's talk only about the positive things here. What I have seen is a child not being too interested in where the camera is, where the lights are, what PR the parent should be doing for the child, or what PR the child. The child today is very aware of everything. When we were children, we had no idea about these things, and these things didn't even exist at that point.
Right.
Right now, we are very aware of things. I see some children, they're very, very aware. Oh, you got to be on social media. You got to be active. You got to do live every now and then. You should be a part of so many things, and you should kind of make sure that you are relevant and you're out there. What happens is, chasing all these things, your craft goes for a toss.
Sure.
You got to work on your craft. And I've seen children working on their craft and doing so well that I've seen a growth of a singer who was number 20 or 25 or was not a part of the top 15 or 20 in a reality show. But the person who won that reality show got nowhere. And the one who was number 25th had already sung 6 songs for a music director. So your craft, you've got to work on your craft, your passion, your hard work. Yes, social media is important, but a limited amount of time given to be given towards social media.
Thank you, Shekhar. You're saying things that are music to my ears, literally. You're talking about passion. You're talking about hunger. You're talking about desire. I call it the PhD of success. If you have passion, hunger, and desire, you will be successful. And Shekhar, you said something very important, which is that you have to be a lifelong learner. Aapko abhyas, riyaz, you have to keep practicing and improving your craft. Everything else is around it. If the craft is good, sooner or later you will find ways to be successful. I think that's what you're saying. Let's stick to the
Khasa, Dr. Batra, my Khasa used to say कि गाओ तो उस्ताद की तरह गाओ और सुनो तो शागिर्द की तरह सुनो.
Kya baat hai. I think that's applicable to every sphere that I love. I'm loving this conversation, and एक बार दोबारा कहिए शेखर, जैसे आप कहते हैं वैसे मैं नहीं कह पाऊंगा.
गाओ तो उस्ताद की तरह गाओ और सुनो तो शागिर्द की तरह सुनो.
क्या बात है. So Atul, in this relationship, who's the ustad and who's the shagird? Yeah, at different points there is you become the ustad and he becomes the shagird, and sometimes he becomes the ustad and you become the shagird.
I think Atul and I sorry Atul, I will speak on your behalf, लेकिन हम लोग शागिर्द ही अच्छे हैं कि जितना हम सीखे वो उतना अच्छा है.
मैं गाऊंगा नहीं, क्योंकि अगर मैं गाऊंगा तो सारी ऑडियंस भाग जाएगी, बट एक गाना है jo is a motto of my life, and I'm reminded of that. It's a
Ji.
band called UB40. And
Oh yes, of course.
do you know why it's called UB40, Shekhar?
No, no.
Do you know, Atul? Have you heard of this band called UB40?
Yes.
Which song have you heard?
Wise men say, only fools rush in. That's the one.
Yeah, Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
Right.
That's from
Right.
the motion picture Sliver, Sharon Stone. I watched them.
Right.
Everyone of my age, it was growing up. Now that I've grown up, watched it. Then there's another song called Red Red Wine. These are two popular songs. But there's a third song which is what Shekhar is saying. It's a song called Higher Ground. And it's just beautiful lyrics. I won't sing it because, I don't think it's the appropriate thing to do. But it says, every day, every hour, I'm learning more. The more I learn, the less I know. The less I know, I dig deep from the higher ground. It's a beautiful, that's what Shekhar is essentially saying. At the end of the day, we know very little and we need to keep improving. But coming back to you, Atul, you started this collaborative relationship, and GIIS is a big movement. It's a big institution. It is spread across the world. When we talk in 5 years' time, what is the kind of impact the GIIS-Shekhar Ravjiani School of Music would have had? What's your vision for this school?
So I think to set the tone for this particular answer, let me also say that there was a very nice interaction we had with Dr. Abdul Kalam when he visited 3 times, one as a president and twice as after retiring from presidency. And he was, in all his visit, he asked one question all the time. He went to the student and asked him in a very casual manner, "Are you happy?" He asked another student, "Are you happy?" And then he told everyone that what you're trying to do in your life, you may achieve it, but don't forget to remain happy. So, that's the spirit that we want to bring in to all our students, that look, achieving is something, doing hard work is something, where your destiny takes you is something, but be happy in life. Don't start cribbing, I have this problem, that problem. Don't get into negativities. And recently we also mentioned about the same aspect of, the negative side effects of being on social media or excessively on social media. Social media is not going to be their life. Social media is just going to be their so-called, black pepper, which is going to add some masala to it. That's it. But social media does not feed creativity. It does not make them executioners, good thinkers, good entrepreneurs. So I think a couple of years down the line, I think as long as these students have adopted music and, like Shekhar says, have fallen in love with music, we expect them to either do something in this direction, or who knows, we have a program with INSEAD Business School and we teach students about entrepreneurship. Who knows, some of these students may actually end up being entrepreneurs in music. Like you mentioned the idea before that, it's creating the other Spotify or creating a whole sort of, you saw how Tony Fernandez of AirAsia came about. He was a music entrepreneur, ended up being an airline entrepreneur. So we feel that there is a big chance, big set of opportunities which are likely to come in the future for the students. And I think they just have to take it as it comes to them. They can't pre-decide and decide that I'm going to be there or here. But like Shekhar said earlier, and we've had this conversation many times, I said, what stops any student from aspiring to become a Grammy winner? And what stops for any student to become a producer of music in the world of Hollywood or Bollywood or anywhere, and singing for it? I mean, I know kids who have grown up in Singapore today are assisting in the direction of Hollywood music, Hollywood movies, and they are becoming assistant directors. And so there is a big world of opportunities, be it whatever, not just Hollywood. We want these students to come up, grow up with the perfect fundamentals, with the right values, with the right attitude, and with the right courage to go about doing what they want to do. Because if they are sincere and if their love is visible for anyone to see, they will be successful.
Beautiful. I think while this conversation is around music and music education, what you and Shekhar are saying is applicable to possibly any sphere of life. And that is the role of learning. And dare I say, because of COVID, we have to learn and unlearn every 3 months, 6 months. The learning cycles are shortened. And technology will come and go. But the human values and the approach to learning will broadly stay the same. I use the term broadly. Now, Shekhar, I want to go to you. And I want to know from you, you cannot talk about music education without talking about music. You cannot talk about the business of music without talking about what's happening to music. Tell us 2-3 trends that you see unfolding in the music ecosystem over the next 6-12 months. You already told us what we say in English, that when fishermen are not fishing, they're sharpening their nets. You already created 40-50 new songs. We look forward to listening to them. But I want to know, what are the big trends you see in the music business and hence in learning about music?
So I personally feel that I've actually been through a generation where independent music was bigger than Bollywood music. I have seen that trend reversing somewhere in 2004-5, where Bollywood music actually again took over independent music. It's changing again. Independent music is back big time again. It's being consumed more than Bollywood music at this point. There are a lot of platforms which are very easily available for anyone to put their music up. A lot of platforms now. There are loads and loads of record companies available there to distribute your music. Yesterday I saw something where you pay $17 a year to a company. They will distribute your music and put it on every platform in the world for you. It's so amazing that right now is the time for everybody to kind of demonstrate and display their personal expression. Whether you're a santoor player, or whether you are a tabla player, or you're a cello player, or a ghazal singer, there is nothing as कि ये music चलता है, ये music नहीं चलता है. As a consumer, you can go and see every single thing. There are people from my parents' generation who say कि ghazal गायकी हुआ करती थी पहले, अब नहीं होती. नहीं, ये गलत बात है, होती है. आप सुन नहीं रहे हैं. You're not going on the right places. There are singers who have taken up ghazal professionally, been doing a lot of concerts. There are a lot of poets who've been writing from different parts of India. Unfortunately, Bollywood music is something which people kind of consume at a higher level, because there's a face of an actor attached to it. There's a big production house attached to it. There's a big director attached to it. The news and the buzz about the song is very big, so everyone gets to know about it. For an independent artist, it's a struggle, because there are only a few levels of, where they can be advertised, or where they can be, where the music can go. But I think now, next 6 months to 12 months, I know a lot of independent artists who are going to be coming up, new bands, new electronica music, rock music, hip hop music. Obviously, the whole hip hop culture has just started post Gully Boy. I think this whole movement, there's something going to be so extraordinary coming, because these are the last 3-4 months. I know a lot of musicians who've just sat and made music. So we're going to witness some incredible music in the next 6 to 12 months.
Beautiful. You're saying at the end of the day, technology will help you distribute, it will help you propagate, but at the core of what you do is creating music. And as
you can sit at home, start a song, and within 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, sitting in the same place, make sure that your music is available around the world.
Absolutely. So it's about the craft of music. It's about the music. Distribution is easy. Marketing is easy. as you rightly said, music is about the individual expression that all of us have. It's about time to create that individual expression.
Right.
There are lots of questions, comments coming in, they're visible to both you and Atul. I just want to ask you, who are people who had influence on your life from a music standpoint? Of course, you talked about your Ustad, you talked about your parents, you alluded to both these. So them and who others? Who are the people that you look up to for inspiration, for guidance, people you know? So it'd be lovely to know why and who are they.
So my Ustad Niyazul Khan Sahab, passed away almost 6-7 years after I was training with him. He was my force, but before that, a very strong force in my life was my father. He is a phenomenal accordion player, and he just plays as a hobby because we're from a business family, so he doesn't find much time. So he plays. He actually got me my first big, huge 6-octave keyboard called TS10 in Sonic, I remember, and he gave it to me when I was in my 9th standard, and I started making music, and then I started recording music through a tape recorder and recording it on a tape and distributing it to all my friends, and this is the music I made today. Anyway, so him, the music he used to play at home used to be Beatles. He used to play R.D. Burman. Jagjit Saab used to play non-stop in my house because he was a family friend and he used to come home very often. And I was very fortunate to get some training from him too. These people have played a very important role in shaping up my craft. And I would say after my my learnings from them, I think the best learning happened by listening, going for concerts and just seeing what people are doing, whether I would go for Zakir Bhai's concert or whether I would go for a Philharmonic somewhere or whether I would just go and watch a rock concert. That has been a learning for me. Also listening to music when things started changing at some point in the music industry, when A.R. Rahman came in, sonically things just changed in the business. He's played an important role for, I think, every single musician right now. So Mr. Rahman has kind of, changed the way we kind of think about music. And Panchanda will always be a teacher for life. You keep on hearing his music and you always feel that, he was just incredible. Michael Jackson, I was fortunate to see his concert. I was right in the front and he was performing there at the Andheri Sports Complex. So I can never forget that experience of how a performer should be performing on stage, the kind of songs. So I think all these people, my daughter actually has given me a new playlist of the songs she listens to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, where did you get these songs from? And he said, this is modern, this is new stuff which is happening. And on a list,
I keep asking my daughter also.
And on a list, none of the singers are like really big, popular A-list. These are B and C list singers, but they are brilliant. So there is music all around the world. People are consuming, the right people are consuming it. So I get to listen to a lot of music from my child. So it's amazing. I think this learning will never stop, and I hope it never stops.
Beautiful. Atul, you've been part of building a big institution. I wouldn't call it a school. It's an institution. Anything that lives over a long period of time and impacts a large number of people is an institution. So tell us, what have been your top learnings of building this institution called GIIS, and how do you think you'll apply them to building this school of music that you're doing with Shekhar?
Yeah, so Mr. Batra, there are learnings happen through the journey. And I remember a conversation I was having with a gentleman, Mr. Ramakrishnan, in 2002, where I had gone to meet him together with Justice Dharmadhikari. So Mr. Ramakrishnan was the head of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan and in Bombay, and he said, I would like to have a chat with you. You want to start a school? And he incidentally had worked when he was a young kid. This was in 2002. He was almost like 85 plus. And while he was young, he had the unique opportunity to work with Mahatma Gandhi. So when I met him, my first impression was, wow, you work with Mahatma Gandhi, but he was sitting in a simple white dhoti, a white kurta, sitting on a low-lying chair, talking to a couple of media people. And I said, this is stunning. I mean, you somehow get this impression that every successful person is a very big person and has a certain image about him, but he was an absolute simple, down-to-earth person. And he told me one thing. He said, Atul, you want to start a school, but listen to one thing. He said, never chase money. Always do something for the students, something which will add to their value, add to their life. They will be able to use it, and be sincere in what you are doing. Exactly like what Shekhar has also mentioned, which is be true to what you want to do and be sincere about it and have that passion. And he said everything else will fall in place. But if your fundamentals about these change any time, and I know, I mean, education is lucrative, it is financially great, and I have come across people, unfortunately, who think that this is a great way to make money. There's nothing wrong in this, but what are you delivering to the students? So we always had finance never at the front of our mind, but it was always at the back end to deliver something. It was a means to deliver the education. And the way I see the School of Music really shaping up is to take some of those learnings and to make these children really grounded. Shekhar mentioned about Rahman sir. We had once he had visited twice in our school, and when he was in the school, one of the small girls, maybe about 7-8 years of age, she actually sang his own song, and he later told us that actually the girl sung it in a much more better way. So I asked her mother, I said, is she learning music? And she said, no, it's her hobby. And she would like to sing all Rahman songs, Rahman sir's song. And that's how, she got picked up and she sang there. So this is what we want to teach our children and leave message that if you have passion for music, this is an opportunity for you to really take the best out of it. It is up to you how far you want to take this, how wide you want to take this. But as long as your passion sticks with it, you see you are falling in love with it, you see you are able to be grounded, you are able to be creative about it, because it's not just about, we grew up in the days when the tapes were always, copy paste of music. And so gone are those days. And I think this young generation is growing up very sensitive to all the various issues around themselves. And we feel that with the values that we are imparting, with the entrepreneur spirit we are giving them, I think music will be an element that they will go for, and I'm sure they will see massive opportunities around music. Maybe some of them will end up, singing songs, some of them will be ending up in different industries, in different countries, because who knows, which part of the world they will go and settle down. So, but we feel that this is the best time they can learn something very valuable, extremely close to our heart and to Shekhar's heart, and be able to take this forward and be a happy person in life.
Beautiful. I want to ask my last two questions. One, Shekhar, in anything, especially in creative arts, in a performing art, if I may call, the risk of failure is very high. And I keep saying India hasn't produced a single product company, or in spite of having the most brilliant, hardworking, resilient people, we still haven't done a lot of things that the Western world has done, is because we do not celebrate failure. We only celebrate success. What do you have to say to that?
I will only be talking about celebrating success here, because what I have witnessed in my life, and I've seen it happening to me as well as my other colleagues, is you got to put you got to put that hard work in, you got to put that effort, and you got to put that. And destiny plays a very important role too. If everything, when they say that the kundli mil gayi hai, when you say that sab kuch theek tarah apne aap, align ho gaya, then suddenly you hit a stage in your life which is like you didn't expect yourself to reach a place like that in your life. I would prefer that to be slow and steady rather than becoming a superstar overnight, because anything that happens overnight kind of falls overnight too. So,
Sure.
Be the best, be absolutely amazing, but just stay at that level. There's no point rising too fast to the other level and then falling back really hard, because I've seen that happening too in my journey. In the last 20, 24 years, I've seen a lot of people who, I'm not kidding, had literally attained the superstar status. And then in about 2 or 3 years, they were looking for work in the business. So, and when I see those times, I always, I'm thankful to God that I haven't, even after, getting that success and getting that back-to-back hits and, being loved by people, still challenging myself again and again to work hard and to make sure that I'm working on something which was better than the earlier one, what I did. Always challenging myself to give my best again and again. And not suddenly feeling that, I don't need to do music because I'm a king. I'm a star. The day you feel you're a star, you're a king, that's the time it all starts falling. It all starts falling very badly.
Thank you, Shekhar. I think while we're talking about music, again, for any student or anybody in any profession, what you said is invaluable. There are lots of people asking lots of questions. I'll take 2, 3 just to kind of make it real. Yeah. And, one is Preeti Kanekar is asking, Shekhar sir, when will be your next album out?
Very soon. I have 50 songs now. You'll have to, a song will come up every couple of months, I think.
And Priyanka Nongkla is asking, what do you think of the independent music scene in India? He's already answered that. Possibly he believes that the next few years will be seeing a big resurgence of the independent music scene and, artists who patronize that. There are 2 questions related to education. I would like to ask that to Atul, and you can also, Shekhar, take it. One is from an educator who I know. I don't know, he's still online, but Mr. Sushil Dutt Salwan, there's the Salwan Public School in Delhi. So he's asked this to Shekhar ji, but Atul, I'd also like a response from you. Shekhar ji, why don't you tell the top 10 schools of India to recommend their 2 best students in music to enable Bollywood to adopt them, nurture them, train them, then absorb them, instead of letting them struggle like slaves. After all, merit is what music industry wants. Why let them frustrate? Mr. Salwan, that's why they've started the school. That's why Atul has done this partnership with Shekhar. You can respond. There's one more related question from a guy called Piyush Sharma. He says he's from Gurgaon and he's saying, hi everyone, I'm Piyush Sharma, music producer, 2D, 3D animator, a YouTuber from Gurugram. Thank you for arranging these webinars. These are very helpful for me. My question is, nowadays, music learners, especially vocal students, are so much confused between learning Western or should they learn Indian vocal music. The main problem is they want to make their career, which one should they choose? Because they want to choose a career where they'll get a lot more support. They can be successful in reality shows. And those who learn Indian classic wins the heart and show, but they don't become like the bands who are Western vocalists. And so he's saying, Indian classic music is not doing well because the audiences are limited. I think that's what Piyush is saying. So these are 2 questions, Atul and Shekhar, whichever way you want to do.
Piyush, I'm going to take your question first. There are a lot of parents who actually feel that अगर मुझे हिंदी फिल्म की म्यूजिक पसंद है तो मेरे बच्चे को भी हिंदी फिल्म का म्यूजिक पसंद आएगा. ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है. The thing is very important. I know a parent who spoke to me day before yesterday and said that they're from the film industry. So said my daughter has been kind of singing a lot of Western music, but I want her to learn Hindustani classical because she will eventually go into the film world. I said, it doesn't work like that. Every one of us like a certain kind of music. If your daughter loves Western classical, she should sing Western classical, learn Western classical. Okay, don't make her sing Western classical and Hindustani classical. The kid is going to get confused between both things. And for Western classical, if you're thinking about a career, There are musicals abroad. She can start her own band. She can release her independent singles. There are so many things she can do. So I personally feel कि actually हमारी ख्वाहिश ज़्यादा होती है और बच्चों की ख्वाहिश को हम लोग थोड़ा कम कंसिडर करते हैं.
सब माँ बाप जो उनकी अपनी ख्वाहिशें पूरी नहीं होती, वो चाहते हैं कि उनके बच्चे वो कर ले.
कि मेरा बच्चा रियलिटी शो में जाए. हाँ, ऐसे जरूरी नहीं है कि आपका बच्चा, ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि आपका बच्चा रियलिटी शो में जाएगा तो ही अच्छा है. इससे जरूरी नहीं है. जैसे रियलिटी शो एक प्लेटफॉर्म है, वैसे यूट्यूब भी एक प्लेटफॉर्म. आप प्लीज शूट करके वीडियोस डालें यूट्यूब पे और लोग देखते हैं. पीपल फाइंड मींस आई गो ऑन यूट्यूब टू फाइंड न्यू सिंगर्स ऑल द टाइम. सो व्हेन एंड देयर सच अ फिनोमिनल प्लेटफॉर्म. हमारे टाइम में कहाँ था यूट्यूब जैसा कोई चीज था ही नहीं वो टाइम पे. But that's amazing. That's the way you can kind of put your demos out on platforms like these, SoundCloud. There are so many places now people can go and audition new voices and new singers all the time.
Atul, you heard these two questions.
Yeah, firstly, I think you took the question from Mr. Salwan, and I have great regards for him as an educator. I met him 15 years back in Gurgaon. And I've also met his daughter Indu Khetrapal a couple of times, and she's been to our schools also. I think his idea is exactly what has driven us for this initiative, which is because Bollywood has its own set of dynamics that play there, and there are different considerations. As a school, we don't have control on those considerations, but as a school, we do have control on the fact that we can offer a very high class, world-class music program or through our music academy. So I think that's what we decided, that instead of trying to depend on some other people and whether the initiative will work for them or not, because in today's times, like Shekhar has said, all these young children have access to all the platforms where they know how to put it. So the way we put it in our schools is, we said, look, if you are interested, we don't even run a flyer for this. We don't even send out a word of or an email or something to say we have auditions. No, it's just like Shekhar will come in sometime, a small music teacher will spread the word out. Children who are interested, they will come and they will join the program. And I think that is a natural way of getting somebody interested. Because like Shekhar has said, there is no ticket to success. I mean, just because they are here, I know there are many institutions around the world who have great music academies, say in LA or some other places, but there's no guarantee that you may end up becoming one of those successful artists. It is all up to you. It is all up to how you want to drive it, and it is all up to your opportunities. I would say being grounded, waiting for the right opportunity, not getting too worked up about it, because nowadays social media, unlike our days now, this has become a pain for everyone. And unnecessary mental issues. हमारे बचपन में ये होता था कि किसी ने हमको कुछ गाली दे दी तो हम लोग अपसेट हो जाते थे, पर आज तो ऐसा सोशल मीडिया में, you never know who is saying what and from which forum. So children are having massive issues on mental health unnecessarily. This is a complete kind of ecosystem we have created, and they are unfortunately going through it, but they are the best place to come out of it, to remain unscathed, to be focused on what they're doing. And I can tell you that there are, even today, there are kids who are so well focused, not just in the area of music, but there was a student that we had, she was always talking to her teachers about going and doing something in the space, area of space. Just recently the SpaceX launched a massive rocket into the sky and to the space station. And she was one of the fortunate team members who worked on that particular aircraft, spacecraft, which went into the space. So I think all we say is to the children, dream about good ideas, be creative. If you fail, spring back. You have all the opportunities to kind of spring back and be more creative in what you're doing. But don't blame your journey. Don't blame your sort of personality कि मेरे को ये मिला ही नहीं, मेरे पेरेंट्स ने दिया ही नहीं. ये सब आपके हाथ में है. आपको जैसे यूज़ करना है आप करिए. आपका पूरा अपॉर्चुनिटीज आपको आएगी, और जब आप यूज़ करेंगे उसको तो you will find success and happiness in whatever you do.
Good. There's Sapna Bakshi. I don't know who she is, but she says something which you both of would agree. I love what she says. She says, one can't choose music. You can only go with the flow. It is what you can connect with. It is a soulful experience. It's like love. Like an experience, when, where, how, and why it happens cannot be answered. Music is like love. You can choose. You can only go with what you feel. And she said it's a vibe you get hooked. It's a vibe you get hooked onto. Shampa Chaudhary is asking, sir, and that's more to Shekhar. There are many students who will love to learn from you. Can you take one workshop for students? I'm from Ramjas School, RK Puram. There are many similar care from various school, I think principals or directors or, so I think you should write to the GIIS school, and maybe the team BW can share an email ID where you can write and maybe collaborate with their school. And today we live in the era of virtual schools. I mean, you have a huge campus and infrastructure, but EdTech is dominating. Shekhar, it would be very unfair and very unlucky if I didn't ask you to sing a song that you like. I mean, there are lots of people asking you which song to sing. So, एक गाना तो गा दीजिए, एक की जो अभी नया उसकी झलक दिखला दीजिए, झलक और एक जो आपका फेवरेट है, इतने सारे आपने हिट दिए. There are some recommendations there. I'll leave it to you.
Okay. तेरी निगाहों के, तेरी ही राहों के, करीब से गई जिंदगी. तुझे क्यों देखा ना, तुझे क्यों जाना ना, शिकायतें करूं या नहीं. थमी है ये सांसें, भरी है ये आंखें, सहूं कैसे अब ये फासला. बिन तेरे, बिन तेरे, बिन तेरे, कोई खलिश है हवाओं में. बिन तेरे, बिन तेरे, बिन तेरे, बिन तेरे, कोई खलिश है हवाओं में. बिन तेरे.
Thank you so much, Shekhar. We could go on asking you for songs, but I'd like to applaud. There are lots of requests and there are lots of suggestions. There is a school in Amritsar that wants to collaborate with you. So, I don't have Atulji's email handy, but you can write to me at anurag.batra@businessworld.in, and I'll make sure we connect you with the GIIS school and the GIIS and Shekhar Ravjiani School of Music. I would like your final comments from both of you, an advice to people who are seeking hope, who are seeking wisdom. So first from you, Atul, and then from Shekhar.
So, Mr. Batra, I think what we would only say to all the aspiring students is chase your dreams, have a dream, chase your dreams, and with all the might of your passion, be into something. And while you chase your dreams and you follow your passion, if you are able to get a calling and you are able to get something which is matching your passion, just go for it. But while you do that, just a word of caution, always think about how you're going to feed your family, and don't separate the financial basis of what you do with what your passion is. So I think there's a way you can find a solution to it, and I'm sure whatever you do, if you do it in a good way, if you do it in a way that is genuine and people find it absolutely sincere, it is only going to bring you success, and if not today but tomorrow.
Thank you so much. I agree. Shekhar also said, if you just do what you do well, I mean, if you're a musician, if you just get good music, everything else you'll hire professionals, or you'll collaborate with professionals to market, distribute. So whatever you do, whether if you're a batsman, you're a cricketer, if you're a musician, if you're a teacher, just teach well. You'll find opportunity. But I understand where, Shekhar, your final word, your advice on hope, your advice on wisdom.
My advice is be happy, guys. Be happy. I think all of us are very fortunate to be where we are in life. There's a lot of pain in the world. There's a lot of pain the world is going through. You're in a much better place. Sometimes when you feel कि यार ये ठीक नहीं हुआ, मेरे साथ ये ठीक नहीं हुआ, I think you should not complain about those things. and just be in a very, very happy state of mind. Give happiness to people. The most important thing is, and if you're sad or if you're upset, share it. Speak to one person about it. Speak to someone you trust. Speak to someone who will hear you out. It's very, very important to share what you feel. And don't shy away from that. But always be positive, be happy, do things for others. Don't only think about yourselves. Think about others too. Everyone needs you. You need people. Be there for people. They will be there for you. Just spread happiness. That's it.
What a beautiful. See, while I do this for a living, I keep saying I'm blessed because, I get to meet eclectic set of people, talk to them, learn from them. So I'd say two things. I'll add one is, be grateful for whatever you have. That's what I agree. When I was 12 years old, it's a long time back, I have an older sister who's 16. I mean, she was 16 at that. I was 12. He's 4.5 years older to me. And my parents live with me, and my mom would say that Bhagwan ko bolo thank you, aaj tumko khana mila hai, tumhari aankhein theek hai, naak theek hai, heart theek hai. So I used to look at my sister and say, kaisi baatein karti hai mummy? And I was telling my mom 6 odd months back that now I understand what you say. That just for simple thing, this conversation, I do this for a living, but I'm just loving it. I feel grateful that I can have this conversation, whatever. It's just listening to that song that you want to listen to, reading that book, just being with your family. I mean, we are very blessed. I am very, very blessed. So just being grateful every day for being alive, for being, cheerful, if not. So I believe being cheerful is bigger than being rich. If you're cheerful, I mean, what do you want to be rich for? You want to be happy. So if you can be happy. Second thing I would say, and I wrote a piece, it's called Introduction Capital. And I wrote how introducing people to introduce them to people who they need to collaborate can create wealth for them. And I called it, because I believe the right introductions are everything. And I keep saying, growth and success is a function of opportunity. It is not a function of talent. Talent everyone has. A lot of people, Shekhar said. So I think help others. The gist of that article was help other people, God will help you grow. That's what I believe in. Be grateful, help other people grow, and automatically God will send you ideas. Even if you're in a tough situation, there is nothing that cannot be solved. As Shekhar said, talk to somebody, talk to a friend, talk to a relative, talk to somebody who professionally does this. But talk. There's no problem that cannot be solved. There's nothing. It hasn't been invented. Even Corona will eventually be tackled with a vaccine. This shall too pass. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Shekhar. It's been good talking to you and listening to you and discovering a little bit of you. You can't discover too much. I do know that you are 29th November born. I was doing research on you. You were born in Bhuj, right?
No, I'm born in Bombay, actually.
But your family is from Bhuj.
Yeah, my family is from Kutch. Yes.
Yeah, Kutch, sorry. And
yeah.
you're from Gujarat. So,
Mr. Batra, thank you. This, I have to say this, and to all the people who are watching this right now, this is my first ever webinar.
Oh.
And I'm so happy and I'm so glad that this webinar happened with Atul and Annurag. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. I know this is what you do, but speaking about music, speaking about passion, speaking about love, these are things which should happen very often. And thank you so much for making that happen.
Thank you for being so humble and so real, and really. Can I tell you, I'm first generation Atul, and I acquired Businessworld. I was lucky enough to build Exchange for Media with 2 friends. And again, it happened, honestly, there's a lot of serendipity. There's a lot of divinity. I mean, just because I work hard doesn't mean that it has to happen. If God wants it to happen, it happens. It happens with good intent. And, I have a certain vision for Businessworld. I've done only 20-30%. I've struggled because I acquired a company that existed for 34 years. It's the 40th year. 6+ years I've owned it. But I feel in the last, as you said, these are the most productive days. Last 120 days have been the most productive days. And I'm very mindful of the problem that people have. But what Shekhar said, somebody's helping me raise capital. I'm raising another round of capital to make a huge digital leap. And he said, somebody very big, I don't want to give his name. And he said, Annurag, I'm going to back you up because I see a childlike, enthusiasm. So while I may do this for a living, honestly, I prepare maniacally in my own way for everything. And, I'm excited when I do every, conversation. Because I love this, it's not about money. It's just I feel that, somebody could charge me for doing all this. It's like, it's my job, but I love doing it. So every conversation is inspiration. I learn something. Where I am, I get to meet such accomplished people. And I'm more often than they're learning something from me, I learn from them. And it's just a privileged position to be, just from a standpoint of learning. So by the way, Shekhar, UB40 is called UB40 because all the 3 band members were unemployed in the dole form. The unemployment form in UK is called Unemployment Benefits 40.
Oh, wow.
So I'm
amazing.
And we started a website on the business of music called loudest.in 3 years back. We do an annual conference where music meets business. Music meets technology, it meets capital. It's called Music Inc. We did it last month virtually, but we did 2 editions at JW Marriott. The next physical one, we're definitely inviting Atul and you there. So
would love to be there. Would love.
Absolutely. And I would like to just add 2 more things here. Something very interesting, and I remember during your conversation that, when we say that, everyone will get his own opportune time to do something in life. And I remember that after my 12th exam in 81, I was 4th merit in Maharashtra. And one of my friends came up and said, "Yaar, 2 mahina abhi kya karenge? Chuttiyan hai. Our colleges will start after 2 months. So let's do some tuitions." And that was my first experience with education, where we actually placed, some 15 rupees of classified in Nagpur Times classified. And we said, okay, we want to offer tuitions to all aspiring 12th graders. And of course, it never happened because our school was there and our college was there. And unfortunately, nobody called us those days. But I'm glad that after 81, we finally got a chance in 2002 to start this institution. And coming to music, I'm personally a great follower of music. And around 78 or 79, it was Muqaddar Ka Sikandar which had come. So, and I love to hear music. और हमारे घर में सिर्फ एक फिलिप्स का रेडियो था और उस पर जो RF AM पे गाने आते थे वही हम सुनते थे. तो मैंने one of my friends had bought a tape record, LP player, and he had a LP. So I said, okay, I go and buy. My father had a small record player, HMV का. तो मैं 30 kilometers गया by auto rickshaw. I brought the LP with me to listen to a few days, and I was listening to my Muqaddar Ka Sikandar songs on a rented LP. I'm glad today that I got this opportunity to work with Shekhar and to create this great music academy, and I'm sure that it'll create many memorable and very historical moments going forward for the young generation. So thank you so much, Mr. Batra. I know we met for the NRI Awards in Mumbai, and you were a great jury on the awards, which we had supported 2 times now for 5 years. But it's great, finally we get to meet you, and wonderful to have a conversation.
Thank you for partnering with us. The kind of feedback we're getting, it's for you to see. It's real. The beauty about digital, it's, this out there. So you can see and thank you for making an, हम ना मीडिया वाले हैं तो एक हेडलाइन देखते हैं. आज की हेडलाइन है, गाओ तो उस्ताद की तरह, सुनो तो शागिर्द की तरह. I think that's the headline today. And Atul, I just want to tell you that my parents are academicians. My father is 81. He'll be 81 on 15 December. And my mother is 6 June. So she just turned 78. She started her 79th year. And yes. And, I come from I went to a business school called MDI. MDI. And with all humility, I'm on the board of MDI, the first alumnus in 50 years to be on the board. And I'm really, truly humble. But my college, maybe I would bring people like Shekhar to the campus to talk. I was very interested in media. I would read 20 magazines in 1990. And I'm a quizzer, so I remember things. और आज भी मैं वही कर रहा हूँ. So subconsciously जो होता है, whatever you're attracted to music, whatever you're attracted to subconsciously, that becomes part of your life. God sends you that. That's how you attract it to yourself. I mean, these things about universe, I believe in that. I mean, every day I write thoughts and post. to my community. I really believe intent matters. Even if there is a temporary problem, if you have the right intent, you will come out of it. And I believe in what Shekhar said, maybe a little old-fashioned, that hard work matters. Improving the craft every day matters. And I keep saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get. So you guys are working hard to put this together. You have the right intent. I'm sure it'll be a big school of learning. And I wish you both luck in this journey of enabling the dreams of students, bringing creativity to their learning experiences, and creating musical superstars. So thank you, Shekhar. Thank you, Atul. Look forward
Thank you,
to
Anurag.
having another conversation soon enough. Thank you.